Well, I was born in 1919. I had a brother who was 2 years older, born in 1917, and I had a sister who was born in 1915. And we were born in a little one-room house in the southern part of Indiana where my father built it. The grandparents decided they wanted to come to Akron, Ohio and start a boarding house because the rubber factories were starting in Ohio, and Akron was called the rubber city of the world. Well, we left Indiana when I was 11 months old and came to Akron, Ohio. We lived about 1 block up from where my parents were, but Dad needed help with the 3 kids and Mother was pregnant with the 4th. But he needed help because my mother was always sick. She weighed about 102 pounds and she was 5'2", but her first baby weighed 13 pounds. She was born in that little one-room house, and Dad had to run across the street to get a 16-year-old girl to help him birth the baby. Well, of course, Mother was never well after that, and she never should have had any more children because my dad, thought that my mother was dead. So anyway, we came to Akron, Ohio, and he needed Grandma's help. So we moved into their big boarding house on 7th Avenue down from Arlington Street in Akron, Ohio. And my grandmother had a lot of influence on my life because I followed her around a lot. And at 4 o'clock in the morning, I would run downstairs to be with Grandma. And I remembered as the years went by why I went down there. I could smell the food early in the morning. And I was an early riser in the family. So anyway, she taught me how to wash the dishes, the pots and pans and all that. And she would let me lick the cake pan before I washed it. I was only 4 years old. So later on, she bought me a little doll for $0.25, gave me some scraps, and told me to make the doll a dress. So she'd sit me on the front porch. I'd hang my little legs over the edge of it. She taught me how to thread the needle, how to cut with scissors, and I started making doll dresses for the doll. Well, by the age of 11, I was pretty good at sewing, and I was making my own clothes. We had a white rotary sewing machine. When Dad bought it, Mother said, "Don't use it, you'll break it, Mildred." Dad heard her say that, and he taught me how to use that sewing machine. And later on in my life, when I had 8 kids, I made a living at home by sewing. I advertised in the paper, and I got into the wedding business. I used to make a lot of wedding gowns.